I would like to introduce you guys to our very next speaker. Who here knows Shawn?
Shawn Mckay.
Yeah, I mean, everyone here should know Shawn. So Shawn is a staff software engineer at Amplitude. He's also a VanJS co-organizer. And today, Shawn is talking about what happens when the cost of software drops. Please welcome Shawn to the stage.
Oh, thanks, Phoebe. I'm a bit worried because I made my slides in Gatsby. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Yeah, so I was going to do a different topic, but I found a lot of things have been changing in software. How I code is so different in the last 3 months than it was. Anybody else feel that way? Yeah, a lot of hands going up. Even design, if you're using Bolt, Figma Make came out last week. A lot of things of how we make products are changing quite rapidly. So I want to talk about why that's happening now and what's next. So I'm Shawn. Yeah, I'm a staff software eng at Amplitude. Any Amplitude customers in the audience here? A fair amount. So Amplitude's a product analytics company. It gives you feedback on what your users are doing. And we're hiring. So check out our career site if you're interested. And BB already introduced me, so I'll just keep going. Maybe long story short, in 2019, Alan gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to organize VanJS. And I said, sure. And then if you're a student of history, the late 2019 was an interesting time for meetups. Yeah, it was COVID. So AI editors. I was lucky enough to get a sneak peek of GitHub Copilot because I used to make VS Code extensions. So in 2020, I saw this amazing Copilot. It came out. I played around with it, and it felt like a language model. It felt like somebody writing code that looked like someone writing code, but when you actually try it, it wouldn't. The promise wasn't there. So the promise of AI in the editor, it was like a nice autocomplete sometimes. Cursor came out 2023. Cursor tab, it was like a really nice autocomplete. It worked very effectively. Great product. Recently, Windsurf came out. That's another one. It's about 9 months old, just sold for $3 billion to OpenAI. That is like $500 million a month they made on that. But why so much interest in these AI editors? So I found in Cursor, there is a analytics panel, and I wanted to show you guys my analytics over the last week. So you can see I've used a wide variety of models. I found I was number 4 for usage. I wonder who the other 3 are, because I can only imagine how much they use it. Total lines, you can see I'm accepting the blue lines. It's suggesting the green lines. Quite a high acceptance rate. And for tabs, like some days I'm tabbing over 100 times. And you can see for using the agent, I use it maybe 20 to 60 times a day. So it's really transformed how I code. That's what I want to talk about today. So AI editors back in the day, they had a lot of issues. They had poor accuracy, poor reliability. They were pretty slow. It was like watching a website load in the 90s. They could be expensive. They couldn't manage much context. So what they could hold in memory could be about the size of a function. And there wasn't much tooling, and you couldn't do these like extensive workflows. All of that has changed in the last 3 months pretty extensively. But if we're going to talk about accuracy and reliability, how do you measure accuracy and reliability? There's a tool you can use. It's free. It's called LLM Arena. It's a VS Code extension. And basically, when you code, it'll make suggestions. And then if you like the first suggestion, command 1. If you like the second suggestion, command 2. It's serving you an A/B test of models, and then you're deciding the winner. It's free. Check it out. Then they take the winners and they give them an ELO score. Any chess or soccer players? Chess or soccer? Okay, there we go. So What's your ELO? 1700. Damn. The best I ever got was 1690. So I keep so close. Do you want to guess what these top models are here? Yeah. So we got Claude and we got the new Gemini. Oop. Yeah, I was going to give a hint, Google. The new Gemini, which just came out last week, is now number one. These ELO scores are trending upward. If you want an idea of what an ELO score is, you can think of a beginner like 1,000. So when these models started, not even a beginner, right? And then they started to be like a beginner, and then they started taking off, and the gap here is 3 months. So it's how did you go from 1272 to a 1419 in 3 months? It's like something is accelerating. It's like something is training itself in some kind of way. So accuracy and reliability, personally, you saw my stats. I feel like it's getting much better. And for speed, speed can be measured by how many tokens it reads. Humans, we read about 25 tokens a second, somewhere between 20 to 30 tokens a second if you're going to translate it. But some of these models, like Gemini, you can see Gemini Pro, 201 tokens. So it's reading about 6 to 8 times faster than reading and writing 6 to 8 times faster than you. The cost used to be an issue, but if you use Cursor, like I do, it's $20 a month. A lot of the models are free after that. If you are using more expensive models, they're often just 1 cent. 1 cent per request. And you can see that each model has multiple versions. So it has a smaller version, usually free. And then you can see like Claude 3 Opus, 2.5 cents, somewhere in the middle, 1 cent. So depending on how much context you're using, how much power you want, you get to pick. In terms of the context window, how much it can hold, if you go back to Copilot, that was about 1,000 tokens. That's like 100 lines. So Copilot could work on a function. But now this is just in Cursor. These are their context amounts for your 1 cent, right? You can get 120,000 tokens, which is going to be a large amount of docs. It's going to be a large amount of files. I can show a little more about how that works. So here I have Cursor open, and you can see I just typed this prompt. I haven't run it yet. I typed it before this chat, and in Cursor, you can give it an image as part of your context. You can give it where is my up here. So you can pass in files and folders. You can pass in docs. This is cool. I was playing with this today. So I was using TanStack Virtual. So it didn't know TanStack Virtual like you're talking about. So I gave it a link to its docs, and it looked them up. And if I at TanStack Virtual, it knows the docs. And if it doesn't know the tools you use, this is cool too. They have a thing called rules. So Cursor rules. So Cursor rules, they'll have a blob, like a file matcher. And if you're in a file that matches that, you can give it rules and say, we use Tailwind, we use Radix, we use whatever. I want you to write it this way. And that will then be added into your context when you look at those things. So you can also do notes, and let's just see what happens when we have. So I put here, you're an expert senior software web. So this is my pattern when I write. I write who you are, what your goal is, and then what I want as the output. That's kind of my pattern. And let's see what happens. I'm going to choose not auto, but I'm going to go with Gemini. And how many people have tried Gemini? Okay. And I might have to make this a bit smaller so you can kind of see. You can see it's just railing on, and you can try and watch it like it's Netflix. It's calling it MCP tool. What do you think that is? What is?
I know what MCP tool is, but what is run audit?
Run audit. So I gave it.
MCP the villain from Tron?
I've never seen Tron. I don't know, but But MCP here in this case is, if you go up to cursor settings, and you go to MCP, I gave it a few different servers. So actually, I didn't connect one of these servers. So let me connect it now. This is you can let it connect to your browser, and it gives the context of the browser. It can basically run things. I was doing a scroll bug today, and it was so difficult to find out. So I just said, like, run in the browser, log the scroll issues, tell me what the problem is, and it figured it out. But in this case, I give it Playwright or Lighthouse. So I believe the tool it was using was Lighthouse. And let me just accept for now. And let's look at what kind of doc it wrote. It talks about the Lighthouse score and whatnot. And it gave some areas for improvement with color contrast. Client-side errors, what to fix. But first time I ran this was on the train home when Gemini was released. And let me just go to our GitHub here for a second. I don't know why it always tabby ML. I don't no idea even what that is, but that's what autocompletes. So if I go down to VanJS, this was a PR that it wrote a little while ago. And it gives you a sense of the accuracy. So I asked it to optimize the images on the site. And it actually went through and it had me install the SVGO and PNG tools. And then it ran them on the SVG and PNGs. And it took in the dimensions of how they're used in the site to further optimize them. But the one that really impressed me was this hero JPEG. It recommended to convert it to WebP, and it gave me this tool to convert it to WebP and gave it like a 98% reduction. And the accuracy of it was like better than I would have done. So I've been largely impressed by Gemini so far. Okay, tooling. Tooling, you saw a little bit about the tooling there. I don't know what else I can say about it, but it goes into your terminal. It has a debugger. You can even run a tool that looks for bugs in your code, and it's extraordinarily fast. So I find if you're in a meeting and you want to get stuff done, I just run it in the background, and it doesn't take as much focus. So MCP servers, you saw a little hint of them, but they are basically tools. They're like APIs for your LLM. So there are a number of them. There's almost an infinite number of them, I would say, at this point. But just to give you an idea, you have ones for doing search on the internet. You have ones for Sentry. It can look up your errors. Datadog, Slack, you can have it message you or read threads on Slack. Jira, it can make tickets and process tickets. So you end up with something, when you have that much tooling, you can do workflows. So here's an example of a workflow. You could have it review errors on Sentry, make a Jira ticket, reproduce that error in the browser, then write up a plan how to fix that error. You can have it debug the issue, resolve the issue, push up a PR, and then ping you on Slack to tell you to review it. That's conceivable. I've tried it. I had like 5% success rate right now, but that's not bad, right? There are other tools as well. This is one I saw last week. It's called PR Agent. It basically, you put it on an open source project, you turn it on. This agent here will look at the issues and respond to them. And if it decides that an action can be taken, it passes it to a planning agent. And that planning agent can then write up a PR for a human to review. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So here, if you go to, they have it enabled on their own repo, and you can see that this workflow basically goes in and, here, maybe this one here that says answered. Someone asks a question and immediately the Quoto merge bot responds. And it's looking at the docs and it's pulling out a response. And then if it deems it useful, it can write a PR. So I was like, how good is it at writing PRs? And if you go and you look for, let's just type bot, and see how many PRs he's done. Okay, he's done 3 PRs, and 2 of them didn't make it. So one of them's open, 2 of them didn't make it. But it's just the fact that it's conceivable right now that this could get good. That yeah, and it puts your response time up too, right? Down. But this I feel like this could conceivably get good and could dramatically improve open source, or the opposite. We'll see. So the factors are in place for coding to change and become more automated, right? The CTO of Microsoft said, I think it was a few weeks ago, he said 95% of code will be generated by AI by 2030, which, if you think about it, is either a really great thing or a really terrible thing. I don't know where you sit on that spectrum. But I want to talk about a few things that we can expect in the short term. So one is that software is going to cost less, right? Like already, if it writes somewhere 30 to 50% of my code, that is a discount on code that I make. And there's bad software in so many places in this world. It could get better. And if there's a good chance that a lot of companies are going to reinvest. They're trying to try and get ahead, and that can be good for us too. But on the other hand, there's also going to be probably more competition. There can be people not from software backgrounds coming into software too and building things. And probably the cost you can charge for software in a very competitive environment is going to trend downward. And it's just unclear if it will result in software developer being a better job or a worse job at this point in time, right? It could be both. It's probably both. So software devs would be adding more value. They'd also be expanding their role to more things. And we're likely to find more and more use cases for software using AI. And certainly a lot more of what we do is going to get automated. For junior software devs, though, we'll start on the bad side. There's this experience inflation. So if you look at jobs, about a third of them want 3 years experience for a junior role. And there's about 40% fewer junior jobs online now. We're hiring, but we're not hiring for junior jobs at this time. But on the other hand, it's the easiest time to build something for yourself and for your community. And there's no better time to learn. And if you are starting today and you are a junior dev, you are well suited to be adapted to this new way of coding if you embrace it. Interviewing, I found, is already changing. So interviewing, usually you have a filter before people get to your interview. And that filter is kind of broken right now because everyone passes. Your leak code challenges are 100% success rate now, right? It basically shows up in their editor and they hit tab and then they submit. Sometimes you see the exact same answer over and over and over in the interview. So there's also this weird dynamic where companies want you to use AI. They want you to leverage it and be a more than 1x developer, but they don't want you to do it in the interview. So there's this gap between what the real world job is and then what you'll be interviewed on. I don't know where that's going, but there's probably a product that can fit in that space. I'll skip that one for now because we're running out of time. But this is the big question, is like, are AI models going to continue to get more accurate like they have in other areas, like in chess? I think the AI chess players are now 3,400. You'll never even come close. Or is the pace at the accuracy, is it going to peak? Is software so complicated that they won't be able to figure it out beyond a certain point? That's unclear, but signs are pointing to an acceleration. So I'm almost at time, but I just wanted to say, maybe I'll ask this question. How many people feel better after this presentation? How many people feel worse? That's not bad. That's like 50-50. That's the best I could hope for. And that might be the best we can expect. So coding is changing. Thank you very much.